retreat. So like I said, we pulverize, we destroy, we essentially, everything in its path. Glacial erratics, granite from Canada, trees from Michigan, sediment from northern Indiana, all of that is essentially pulverized and carried and then eventually dumped. But now we got to make some land features. And don't worry, we have janitors who will clean this up. And so here I am, my big bag glacier, pulverizing, huge amount of weight. And so essentially what happens is the glacier advances. It advances, then it stops, and it starts to retreat. And look what it advances, and it retreats. And look what we just formed. We just formed an in-moraine. It's essentially a continental glacier advancing everything in its path, even our glacial erratic, even our skittles, everything in its path is essentially pushed to the front. And so essentially what we've done is we've created a rugged topography. And so this is a land feature that you can see all throughout south central Indiana. For example, on your way to Bloomington, if you ride on 37 on your way to Bloomington, you go on 37, you go up, and then you look at the beautiful city of Martinsville. It's kind of down below you. You can kind of see that. When you're on 37, you look down, you can kind of see Martinsville. That's the moraine. That's the in-moraine right there. If you go to the Outlet Mall in Edinburgh, and so you have the Outlet Mall in Edinburgh, you keep on going past that exit on 65 South. Keep on going past, you're going to go up, and you're going to go over. That's the in-moraine. Go down to Nashville. Why is Nashville so hilly? Why is it so rugged? It's because it's at the in-moraine. It's actually where two in-moraines have stopped. Two other glaciers, let me say, have stopped. And so it's got two different glaciers that created that same rugged topography. And so that's our first feature, our in-moraine, which is very linear, and we've kind of, I hope, tried to understand how it forms. Now let's go to our next one. Alright, so Long Island, once again Long Island, here's its particular shape, the blinking, yep. So Long Island all the way up to Cape Cod. Essentially we're formed from the same feature. So that same feature. So we have a glacier, same glacier that came through and stopped in Indiana, stopped here in Long Island. And so essentially as it retreats, it then essentially all that water goes downhill. And so it's essentially creating an island. So here is Long Island. So here we have Long Island Sound, JFK Jr. somewhere in there. Bad joke, Andy. So over here is the Atlantic Ocean. So here's Connecticut. So essentially, Long Island is just like this, an in-moraine, in which over time the water is kind of filled in the gaps on both sides, creating an island when all it is just an in-moraine. Further, we have another type of moraine, the next one, and that's a recessional moraine. A recessional moraine, I don't know if I'll ask this, but if I ever do, you know the answer. A recessional moraine, it's always behind the in-moraine. Or in other words, in this case, the recessional moraine is always going to be on this side. It's never going to be in front of an in-moraine. And that makes sense. A recessional moraine, as the name implies, I'm not the one that came up with the name, but recessional, kind of, it's receding. So it's receding, it's heading backwards. And so I'll just go ahead and I'll do my demonstration here again. This is kind of fun. So here we have a glacier that's retreating, but we might have just a few thousand years of cooling. So a few thousand years of cooling, this is going to cause that to go back to 0.5 meters per year or whatever, and it's going to create another moraine, and it's going to head back and create another moraine, and it's going to head back, and so we have these periods of cooling and heating and cooling and heating, and so as it retreats, it creates these parallel moraines that are behind that in-moraine. These parallel moraines that then form behind the in-moraine are the recessional moraines. So essentially, like I said, periods of standstills. And so the glacier advances, but then it's not really for long. It's just for a few thousand years, and then it retreats, and then it advances again, and then it retreats, and it creates these parallel almost to each other moraines as those lobes of these glaciers start to retreat and head backwards.